Coaches, Thomas here from MyCoach AI, and in this quick video today, I want to take a minute to answer a really common question about MyCoach AI, which is when do I use forms versus when do I use progress metrics, right? They're not the same thing. They're both ways to ask questions and to log answers, but they are not the same. They have two somewhat distinct purposes. And in this video, I'm going to show you when you should be using what. Now, if we go to our library section, we find two libraries, forms and metrics. They have two separate libraries. And forms you may recognize from things like your client onboarding, right? You send out the client invite and you attach an onboarding form to it. You may also recognize it for things like feedback forms that you add to certain programs. So you say, hey, after week 4 of my program, you're going to get a quick form that prompts that is going to, have you fill out some feedback about the program. Metrics you may know from different things. Metrics you may know from adding them separately to your program, saying like, hey, every Friday I want you to log your weight, or every Sunday I want you to, indicate the hours of sleep you averaged throughout the week. You may also recognize them from things like your check-ins, right? So your check-in form that sends out every week is also built out of these progress metrics. And the answer on when to use what kind of already lies in the distinction on where you find these. Because what do these forms have in common? What do the onboarding form have in common together with the feedback form that prompts on week 4? And what do those other things have in common, like the metrics per check-ins and that happen on a weekly basis? It is when do they happen? The forms, as you may have noticed in the explanations now, happen once, get collected, and that's it. Whereas the metrics are things that often recur and get referenced over time. They are tracked over time. So forms, really useful things on forms is something like onboarding, which happens once, presumably, right? It happens once. You record the information in terms of open-ended question and these type of things. You collect it once, you log it, and that's then set. Same with feedback forms, payment, upsells, all these type of things typically happen once, and that's where you often use a form. Whereas metrics, as we just saw, may be things like, progress pictures, front photos, back photos. They may be things like weight, right? They may be things like water intake. All of these things you often happen to ask on a repeated basis. Like in check-ins, you ask them weekly or bi-weekly. Like other things that they need to record on a daily basis. Take things like steps. Metrics you find all over the system. And the cool thing is that when you record them, they of course get recorded in the metrics section of any client. And the cool thing is that they then get tracked over time. So the system can eventually make graphs for you. Different types of showing you this information, comparisons of progress pictures, graphs over time, because they get tracked over time. Whereas forms get recorded in one single moment and are then for you to review. But they're not things that we're going to create graphs out of or show comparisons with different types. The same question was asked on a different form. That's what metrics are for. So when you're deciding to use a metric for something or a form for something, just ask yourself, is this something that I need to record in the moment and then access later? Or is it something that I'm going to be asking repeatedly over time and need to compare with different points over time? And that is going to be the main distinction on whether you should use forms or metrics. And now you know.